I'm here with Taco Price. She's the director of programs for Alzheimer's Arkansas. And today we're going to talk about managing stress, caregiver stress. Now, I understand this because when I started to become a caretaker, it was for both my mom and my dad at the same time. And until my brother moved here to help, I did not realize the toll it was going to take on me emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And the time that I did know was when I was in the store and I was staring at the cereal for like 30 minutes. I literally could not move because I just was zapped. I didn't know what to do next. And so I knew I was in a serious situation. Now, I was proactive. I got a therapist, started having someone to talk to, but also I started taking caregiving classes. And that's really where the work was done, hearing from other people and being able to share my experience. So Taco is going to continue this conversation by talking about how you can better manage caregiver stress. Thank you, Taco.
You're welcome. Well, of course, I am excited to continue our conversations. I think what's very natural and normal for most people is when they recognize that their loved one is starting to show some changes in memory, thinking, or behavior, or have even maybe gotten a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, um, immediately they they do what all of us would do. We would just take action. We just start taking care of our loved one. And most often, family caregivers don't have any professional training, any traditional training and understanding about how to be a caregiver. We just do what we feel is natural and most important to take care of our loved one. And as a result of that, it does become very overwhelming for many people. The most important thing that I want to reiterate that you have already stated is that becoming an educated caregiver is of the utmost importance. This is a progressive disease, as we all know. And along the journey, a caregiver may have to adopt some new caregiving skills as the disease progresses, maybe even adopt some new strategies in terms of how you adjust along the Alzheimer's journey. And so I think becoming what's most important is becoming the most educated caregiver you can possibly be. But I also think doing that self-check, like you mentioned, I'm so exhausted. I can't even think about the next thing to do. What's next? How do I, take care of this person's needs, but also my own? I think doing that self-check is also important, Theba, because it'll allow you to make sure that you keep your wellness and your health a priority. And doing exactly what you said you did, getting a therapist, having someone to talk to. Just again, I think last week we talked about having that having that support system, that care team of people that you can go to when you need a little rest, when you need respite, is very important as a family caregiver.
Yeah, I guess I thought I could just be on autopilot, but when you're dealing with loved ones, whether it is a spouse or your parents, there are triggers, and that's where the therapist was helpful, just to identify triggers and come up with some tools because these are your parents, you have a history. The caregiving class was so essential because you're in a community of people who have, most of them had been there before you or are in it. And so they're able to give you sensible ideas and tools, and just you can relate to what they're talking about, but you can also see they survived. And they'll say it's because of the community, the class, being educated. And so I cannot stress that enough. You are not alone. And I think I felt like I was alone until I made those steps. And I remember I sat at lunch with someone and I was completely exhausted and I didn't understand why I couldn't do it. Like I know it confused her, but I was like, why can't I do this? Because it's out of love, why can't I divide myself between two houses, one parent and the
And
other
you know
parent?
what? The journey for the caregiver brings about a range of emotions. Sometimes it's just denial for the family caregiver. Oh gosh, this isn't happening to us. Mom's going to be okay. Dad's going to be okay. There's a range of emotions that come along with it. Exhaustion certainly being one of those. But then also it's the remembering that or coming to terms with the fact that because of this disease, the person can no longer do the things that we innately think that they can do. Dad, Dad knows how to dress himself. Why isn't he doing it today? He's just being stubborn. That could really trigger frustration for a caregiver. But I think, again, as we talked about earlier, taking a step back, educating yourself, understanding the behavior changes that will occur, I think is really important. At the Alzheimer's Association, as you know, we offer a lot of caregiver education classes where we will decode behavior. The person's doing this, what does this mean? Let's take a look at the environment. Is the person with Alzheimer's or dementia, are they overstimulated in some way that might be triggering or causing them to behave a certain way, which ultimately may have an impact on your level of stress as a caregiver? So again, I do think that educating yourself, certainly accessing education programs that help you learn how to communicate effectively with your loved one on the journey of Alzheimer's, but then also just really understanding how to decode some of the behaviors, some of the language, because they're going to start communicating differently with you as well.
Right.
And so I think just recognizing all of those things, and just, again, making sure that you have some stress management strategies as a caregiver is going to be very important as you continue to take care of your loved one. Interestingly enough, one of the most common points of feedback that we get is that the caregiver starts to forget about their own doctor's appointments because they're focused primarily on getting their loved one to the doctor. They forget to take their own medication because they've had to make sure that they have a schedule for their loved one. So I think just elevating your level of consciousness and making sure that you keep your wellness as a top priority as well is going to be very critical as a caregiver.
I like what you said, decoding. That is so important because it's so confusing. Taco, once again, great stuff. And I always want to end our conversations by telling everyone the Alzheimer's Association is there 24/7. There is a hotline, a call line that when you reach your breaking point or you need help decoding somebody's action, please call them. Looking forward to more conversations with you, Taco. Thank you.
Thank you, Thiba.